This week, we are delving into podcasting. I love podcasting. I am a podcast geek.
Have
I listen,
you
I listen to them all the time. They are interesting. I get audio uh, interviews or audio podcast conversations, mostly through NPR. I love listening to Morning Edition and All Things Considered. I just love that form of storytelling. I love that form of conversations. I whenever I'm on the road, I'm traveling down to LA or sometime I'll even drive to Vegas. That's an 8 hour drive. But man, I will have that NPR on, or I have some other podcast on through Sirius. The beauty of NPR is that the storytelling is so unique. It actually pulls you into the conversation. It pulls you into the story. The reporter has the ability to paint that picture of what it is that they're discussing. And next thing you know, this is from me, I feel that I'm part of that story. I'm a viewer, even though it's audio, I feel that I'm a part of it. That's the beauty of NPR. NPR station in our area is KQED. I urge you to not only watch the PBS station stuff, but also listen to it on the radio. You want to say something there, Sam?
I was gonna say there's a joke going around saying that in the 2010s, like let's start a podcast is the new equivalent to let's start a band.
Okay, there you go.
I think
Absolutely.
I think it's just kind of funny because it's really true, but
Yes,
there's
it
a
is.
lot of podcasts out there, like even just on YouTube, you could just find people talking
Yep,
about whatever.
yep, yep. And so much of it is interesting. It's interesting, Nigel. What? It's interesting if it's done well. Okay, a lot of media houses, and I'm now trending toward the New York Times, and I posted it. Uh, they have a podcast unit inside the newspaper, and I posted this a few weeks ago. Where is it here? Uh, help me, help me, help me. Where is it? Where is it? Cheers. Here it is. The power and pitfalls of the podcast. You guys really need to check this out. Oh my God. The New York Times has gotten in trouble with their podcast series on the caliphate. Uh, Look it up. You don't have to look it up, right? Eli, do is click, and take a look at it and read it and see how the standards for podcasts apply to the standards for any story that goes through the editing and the vetting and the fact checking process. Okay. So please, we're not going to do it now. You do it on your own. Uh, but it's just so fascinating. The piece, one of them is the first one is 30 minutes long. Listen to it, and the piece explains the issues that came up. Some of them ethical issues, some of them just fact checking um, issues that the New York Times ran into. I saw a few weeks ago that President Obama sat down with Bruce Springsteen in a podcast. Very interesting. You would think that these two
Behind the shield of IBM
nothing
Security
in
stand some of
common.
the most innovative businesses, because behind the shield lies an
Sure.
open and connected world built to help protect today's hybrid cloud environment.
That these two would have nothing in common, but you find out that they have quite a bit in common, and you see them here doing their podcast. Uh, it's real interesting. It's real interesting. Um, Listen to that. And then I saw this piece in the New York Times talking about podcasting is booming, but will Hollywood help or hurt its future? Interesting article. Read it again, guys. You know, I'm not going to take class time to go through it. It's just interesting stuff. You know, some of these articles, most of these articles are 5 to 10 minutes to read. I think it's important. I'm putting this stuff out there for you guys. Okay, interesting. You really need to have, and I'm going back to Sam. You really need to have the podcast uh, techniques or podcast skills, Enrique, in your toolkit. You really, 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 really do need to have it in your toolkit. Okay. So I posted that. Please go through it. Um, I even, and this is really good. I went through this several times. Those who may not be familiar with the techniques and the equipment needed for either a solo uh, podcast or one where you're interviewing somebody else. This is a brilliant uh, 11-minute, 46-second um, podcast for beginners. It's a whole bunch of them on YouTube. I just like this one, and it went over the things that you need in terms of equipment and software, and you know how to get the sound perfect, and how to get your uh, uh, podcast on the channels and out to the world. So I urge you guys to go through that. Okay. If there's any questions, just raise your hand. Um, because yesterday was International Women's Day, I what I did yesterday was uh, or last night go through and try to find some podcasts that were specific for um, International Women's Day. I pulled this quote from the article that I just showed you. Once seen as a marginal form for comedy, tech talk, and public radio over programming, hint what we just talked about, right? Podcasting is one of the hottest corners in media. You guys want to get jobs going forth out of JMC, out of your classes, if you're juniors or seniors, or even if you, I believe, Nigel, you're a sophomore. Is that correct, or a junior?
Junior.
Junior, you know, still have a couple of years still to go. You know, you want to have these skills in your toolkit, okay? Because it will all help as you put together your scissor reel, as you put together your um, um, website slash Adobe Spark portfolio to have these things in there. And so I pulled these two yesterday. The Washington Post did a brilliant podcast with Hillary Clinton, former First Lady and Secretary of State and Congresswoman. She has a plethora of experiences. Um, Going real quickly into the touching on parachuting into the midterm, you guys are going to be working primarily with your uh, cell phones or your iPhones or your mobile phones in terms of video and audio, right? And again, can I have a show of hands of the people who will be doing the boot camp on the 27th? One, two, 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 two. Sam know where I'm going with this. Two, two. Sam, I expect to see you on the 27th. I'm just putting it out there. Yes, I'm putting the pressure.
No, I know. I want to go. It's like I said, I'm just not sure if I'm going to be going to San Diego. I keep trying to call my mom to like make some plans, and I'm getting nothing. It's been like a month since I've talked to her.
It won't hurt you to come up for a day.
Yeah,
Eli,
I know, especially since I really want to learn how to interview people better too. And I've
well,
actually been, I did a podcast for a little bit with a friend of mine when I was still living in San Diego. And I actually, I'm really interested to like look at those tutorials you posted.
well,
Because I want to do something like that for NPR and StoryCorps.
and I'm about to show you something in
Yeah.
a minute, okay, as well. Thank you for bringing that up. Sam, is it's almost like you and I are Siamese twins. We play so well off of one another, and I appreciate your input always in class. But let
I just never shut up, honestly.
no, you are always welcome. This is everybody. You know, I have no muzzles on anybody. Everybody is welcome, you know, to raise their hand and contribute and participate. Teaching and learning are Siamese twins. Teaching and learning is a two-way street, right? It should not be Dr. Cheers talking for an hour and 15 minutes twice a week. I need your input and your feedback, absolutely. I posted this the other day, um, an interesting concept, and you guys maybe have seen some of the commercials where people literally can and do make movies with their phones. And you've heard me mention it to you before that people have made full-length feature films on iMovie and have taken them and because there's the excuse me have made movies on their phones, taking the files into iMovie. Uh, iMovie also has an app uh, and have really done the editing and everything on their phones. Never taken to a desktop, never taken the files to a laptop, never taken the files to a tablet. Okay, and have done some really incredible work. So it would behoove you to check out some of this stuff. It is really, 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 really good. Just to see how they do it. folks, I ain't making it up. There's a demonstration right there. Yes, they get, the really affordable rigs, that you can get on Amazon, or you can get from B&H Video, you can buy on eBay, um, or you may be able to find some used ones on Craigslist. But you can see the equipment that these filmmakers use. Is very inexpensive. Uh, the technology has just advanced so much in terms of movie making and capturing video with your phones. I remember back when the iPhone just first came out, and the not only the still pictures, but the video. Oh man, it was terrible. But it evolved and to the stage of where it is now, which is spot on. Uh, I would not be surprised. This is just me thinking outside the box and thinking out loud. I would not be surprised if we will one day go to the cinema and see those types of movies shot on phones. I see Enrique shaking his head. You're right, Enrique. It is around the corner.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah. Or going to Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or some of these other streaming services and seeing uh, cinematic pictures. I guarantee you it's coming, where some of these phones shot on iPhones, mobile phones, one day will not only be nominated for an Academy Award, but will actually win one. I guarantee you. I guarantee you it is coming. The technology is advancing and has gotten to that point. Spike Lee has dabbled in it and has done some things, and a lot of other filmmakers are incorporating this as well. I pulled up a podcast. I just love this. It was on um, this LA emergency room doctor who's also a COVID photographer. Anijah, you will see this on J95 site as well. It all started from a story in the LA Times and the podcast. Again, I listen to this stuff so much. I listen to this one over and over and over again. It's only 10 minutes, but it's brilliant how this doctor, and I think he uses Leica cameras, um, and the type of pictures, Anijah, the what honest emotion and interaction pictures, which is where we are, right? In terms of J95, the kind of stuff that he's been able to do. And I believe here it just may be just a script of the podcast, but the LA Times uh, ran some of the pictures from what he was able to capture there at the hospital where he works. Pictures were spot on. Gives you that inside look uh, that only a person, there he is, that only a person like him could get, because privacy issues and blah blah blah. And I'm still sure he had to get some permission, but the photographs are arresting. Um, yeah, they're done extremely well. As you can see, he really concentrates a lot on the uh, emergency room technicians and workers, the ER workers, from the ambulance people to the doctors like himself, I don't think we saw any actual patients' faces and all that kind of stuff. Sorry about the ad. uh, but it's just good stuff. Yeah. Okay. So, uh, but listen to that podcast. That podcast is spot on. Um, Sam Reed.
All right. Students to Dr. Cheers. Why all this reading and learning stuff about storytelling, audio, editing, cameras, all I want is a C so I can graduate. It's that it's that time of the semester where I begin to post job opportunities. You may be ready to explore them now or in the future. Description. Amazon is looking for an innovative visual storyteller to join its growing operations international communications team. We are building a dynamic internal newsroom telling compelling and engaging stories of our 800,000 associates in the heart of Amazon's operations. You could be exactly who we've been looking for if you've got a journalist's eye for a great story, are an artist with a video camera, a wizard in the edit room, and make magic happen when you combine all three. We're not looking for a one trick pony, however. Bonus points if you're just as confident with a still camera, are a natural interviewer. Write compelling copy and know your way around a broadcast control room or aren't afraid to learn. This position must be based in Seattle and may require traveling 25% of the time. And then link to visual storyteller, video photographer, editor.
Right. And the reason that I had you read it because you just mentioned you want to be able to interview better. And again, on the 27th, we work with the students in terms of asking the questions and interviewing the quilters. This is a job post from Amazon. All I did was copy and paste this, but it talks about the skill sets. The reason that I give this, and one of the things that it talks about, is that you got to have so many years, 5+ years experience in visual journalism or brand storytelling with a focus on video photography and editing and a bachelor's degree. I'm going to share with you a personal story. I don't mean to bore you or to put you to sleep, but some years ago, when I was a 21-year-old um, intern at the Boston Globe newspaper, I was then a junior, like a Niger, at the University of Missouri School of Journalism in Columbia, Missouri. Uh, Considered then and even now one of the best schools of journalism in the country. And they had advertised for interns. They were looking for their summer internship program. I applied. I uh, got a call that they were interviewing students from the Midwest at this hotel near O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Uh, and of course, they were interviewing students from other parts of the country as well. Uh, I uh, flew up there, had my interview, and flew right back the same day. They had told me during the interview that it would be about 2 or 3 weeks before they would let any of us know if we had been selected. This was a Friday. I flew back to St. Louis and then drove the 125 miles back to campus. Here it is Monday morning. I'm back on campus and I walk into my advisor's office to give him a briefing on how the interview went because I knew that he would want to know. And he interrupted me with a smile on his face. And you know what he said, Sam? He said the Boston Globe has already called me and they have offered you the internship. I was over the moon for several reasons. Number one, they only took 8 interns that particular summer and only 1 photographer, me. Unbelievable. A kid out of St. Louis, Missouri, had never at up to that point had a new camera. My parents didn't have money to buy me new equipment. My dad bought my first camera from a pawn shop, and I used that camera. I wore it out, uh, studying, teaching myself. When I was in high school, I I was on the school newspaper, but I also worked for free for the 2 African American community newspapers in my town of St. Louis. And that's what I did on the weekend. And so by the time I was a junior, I had a number of clips, mostly from the community newspapers back in St. Louis, and of course from the school newspaper, the Columbia Missourian. But guess what? That's what impressed them. It wasn't about um, having the best equipment. It wasn't about all of the clips from whatever school newspaper that you were working on. And we had kids from Northwestern, from USC, from Berkeley, from schools up and down the East Coast, on and on and on. Northwestern is a major journalism school right outside of Chicago. So I didn't have any of that, but they really liked the fact that, okay, you have clips from the school newspaper, the Columbia Missourian, but were intrigued by these clips, photo clips from your, 2 years. And I would go home whenever I could when I was at Missouri and pick up an assignment uh, with these community newspapers. Because I also did my first 2 years at the University of Missouri St. Louis, called UMSL. And I kept working for the community newspapers even after I had graduated from high school. So I had a nice little chunk of clips, but they were impressed by, not only did you do what you were supposed to do grade wise with the Columbia Missourian newspaper, University of Missouri, but the fact that you honed your skills working at these 2 African American newspapers in St. Louis, Missouri. Fast forward, this was probably, I would say it was a March uh, uh, interview with the Boston Globe in Chicago. Uh, so I had a few months to prepare myself, because you had to get to Boston on your own. You had to deal with your own housing. So I had to find whatever part-time job. And Anaja, that's why I had a smile on my face when you said that you worked at the grocery store from stocking shelves from 4 a.m. to 8. Well, you know how I made money? Uh, so I would have money to, gas money to get to Boston, and some money to live off of before the first paycheck at the Boston Globe that summer. I used to buff floors at the grocery store. My dad got me a job uh, buffing floors at the this grocery store called Flockers, Flockers. I still remember it for some reason. But I buffed floors there for about a month or so before I had to leave to go to Boston, drive to Boston. And I had gas money. I had gotten my little beat up car roadworthy and so on and forth. When I got to Boston, I stayed at a YMCA. I got a room. I didn't know anybody, none of that. Anyway, first day at the Boston Globe, we have orientation and we have a lunch for the other interns. I met the other 8 interns. I'm number 9, being the only photographer. Met them, blah, blah, blah. They tell us about what our duties will be and what is expected of us. They told us that our days would not be, we would not work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. No, as interns, you fill in for people who are um, going on vacation. So your days and hours will fluctuate the entire um, summer. One of the things that they told us at the end, they said at the end of your internships, they said, first of all, we do not hire interns. Interns don't have the experience. What we will do for you, obviously, you keep the clips that you have generated over this. I think it was, for most people, it was a 12-month internship. Some people, it was 10 because they had to get back to their prospective schools. But we don't hire interns. You will have your clips and we will write a letter back to your school for your advisors, letting them know how you did during the summer. I remember, Sam, taking the elevator back down to the newsroom from the cafeteria uh, uh, space where, dining room where we had this luncheon. I made up my mind. I said, these folks are gonna, I said it to myself, getting out loud. I said, these folks are gonna hire me at the end of the summer. I didn't know how, but I had made up in my mind that these folks are gonna hire me. What I did was unusual. Again, y'all, I'm living in a room at the YMCA. I have 2 days off from work, right, every week. Well, I ain't sitting in no room at the YMCA. So what I did was I went to the grocery store, to the gas station, and you all may still remember, y'all are spoiled because of the GPS, but back in the day, you would, the gas stations used to sell road maps and city maps, and they would fold them up and, you open them up and you find out the street and the area and all that stuff. I bought a couple of maps of Boston and the surrounding area. And on my days off, I used to drive until I got lost. I would look up and say, where in the hell am I? But I would use the map to tell me how to get back to Boston and to where I live. That's what I did for maybe 2 or 3 weeks for both days of my days off. I think I worked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Sunday through Wednesday. Okay, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, had Friday and Saturday off. That was kind of how it was. And then I was, sometime had to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and be off Wednesday and Thursday. That's how it worked. So after I got pretty accustomed to where I was in the city and the surrounding communities, which the Boston Globe covered in their coverage, on my days off, I would hang out. Back in those days, everything was shot on film. Photographers would bring in their film, process their films in we call the wet dark room, and make the prints in a community area where they would process their 4 or 5 assignments for that particular day. Well, I would hang out with them and offer to help them, right? I would get to know them, they would get to know me, but I was always in the rest of the summer in the dark room on my days off. One Friday, my day off, 5 o'clock. The call comes in over the walkie-talkies that there was a subway accident in downtown Boston. And it happened to be at the shift change. You had the photographers that were coming in from their daily assignments. They were already in the dark room making their prints. And the other photographers who were working that shift had not yet gone on, in on their assignments into the community. My editor asked me, Mike, they used to call me Mike, do you want to go and try and get some pictures? It's Friday afternoon, Boston, where traffic is crazy. People trying to get out the city, they're trying to get home, they're trying to get to the beach, they're trying to do all these things. I said, I'll go. Here I am from the Boston Globe office to downtown was maybe about 10 miles. Here I am on the highway, stuck in traffic. But all of a sudden, out of the rear view mirror, what did I see, Nigel? I saw a fire truck. And my instincts, Enrique, kicked in. 9 times out of 10, this fire truck is going to that subway crash downtown. I got behind the fire truck and got downtown, and lo and behold, it was a mess. A couple of subway cars had crashed. There was smoke everywhere. They were pulling bodies and, injured out of the subway tunnel, blah, blah, blah. And I'm there just snapping pictures. Fast forward, Saturday's paper, front page, photos by Mike Cheers. Inside photo pages, photos, plural, by Mike Cheers. And I kept doing those type of things. I never took a day off my entire summer, my 12 weeks there. Here we are, fast forward. It is now early August, got to get back to Missouri. I said, oh, well, I didn't get hired. The second to the last day of my summer internship, Harry Holbrook, the photo editor of the Boston Globe, called me in and said, Mike, would you like to stay on as a photographer for the Boston Globe? 21 years old. I called my parents. I'm happy. But again, they said, hey, look, yes, it's an opportunity, but you got to promise us that you will finish your education. I said, yes, I will. I called the University of Missouri, said, hey, I ain't coming back. And so what I did was I worked, again, I'm now eligible for, I had credits. I was going to go back for my senior year, but I knew I was going to lose a semester. What I did during that Christmas was I went home, flew home, didn't drive this time, flew home and borrowed my parents' car, drove to the University of Missouri, paid my parking tickets and got my transcripts, drove back to St. Louis, flew back to Boston, walked into the School of Public Communications at Boston University and told them I wanted to register. This is my situation. I was accepted. Here it is, January. I took, on top of a full-time job, I took the max, 15, 18 hours, whatever, that semester, 24 hours during the summer. They had 2 summer sessions. I never will forget. I took 24 hours, 12 the first summer school, 12 the second summer school, and a full load in the fall. That December, I had my bachelor's degree in journalism from Boston University. That next month, I started my master's program in journalism. It was a dual master's program, a master's program in journalism and African American history. Uh, 12, 18 months after that, I had 3 degrees before I was 23, 24 years old. I didn't let what they said here, basic qualifications, 5 years plus experience and so forth and so on. I proved the system wrong. I spoke my dreams into existence. And I've never looked back. I have to this day, I have never ever filled out a job application for a job. I've been recruited every time. I have been around the world on assignments for National Geographic, for Associated Press. I think I mentioned to you, I worked for Ebony Magazine for some 30 years. I've been around the world so many times. I have to really go back and find old passports to accurately recount the number of times that I've seen the world. Don't let something like 5 years plus or 5+ years of experience required to get this job. If you want it bad enough, you can get it. It's nothing more powerful than a made up mind. You really can will, W-I-L-L, you can will your future into existence, but you got to work for it. Ain't nobody going to give it to you because you're Black or you're Asian or you're African American or you're female or you're this or whatever. You got to work for it. You got to work for it. A photographer friend of mine told me years ago, other people may be better than you are or more skilled than you are, but you know how you make up for that? You outwork them. They may come from privilege. I mean, when I was at the University of Missouri, I was embarrassed because I had this beat up uh, uh, pawn shop equipment. And we had some guys in the school with me, fellow photographers. I mean, this one guy's dad, he was out of Minnesota, and his dad owned some car dealerships. And he had, are you paying attention there, 10? Are you working on your phone? Oh, yep, yep, yep. You his dad owned dealerships. He had the best of equipment all the time. Had the telephoto lenses, had the wide angle lenses, had the this lens, had the that lens, had the the latest Nikon body all the time. And I used to look, wow, I would never pull my stuff out of the bag because it was secondhand, hand me down stuff. But I didn't care. I wanted to learn. And that's the lesson that I want to share with you all. Okay. If you want it bad enough, you can get it. If you want it bad enough, it is there for you. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to go over today, back to Sam, was where is it? I apologize. Where's the midterm? Here you go. I have revised this a little bit. We have a new venue. It's been confirmed now. First AME Zion Church Fellowship Hall. That's where it's going to be held, in the Fellowship Hall, 95 South 20th Street. And it's only about 2 miles from campus off of East Santa Clara Street. So you just drive down East Santa Clara Street to 20th Street, make a right, and the church is right there in the middle of the block. One of the things that I've done here, I put up an incentive. Sam, since you got the great voice, hit it.
Sorry, for some reason wasn't working. To ease your midterm final projects and project anxieties, I will accept your 25% midterm videos on April 8th in draft form. Then polish revisions, updates as your final final project video. I'd rather you have one solid multimedia video story in your e-portfolio than two so projects. I'm hoping to have a few stellar JMC entries for the multimedia category for next year's Hearst students competitions. Max time for the final project is 4 minutes.
Okay. Extra credit. This is for Sam.
Yee.
Read.
Oh, produce a 3 to 4 minute podcast of the quilting project on March 27th.
Right. It's not just for Sam, it's for anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody not understand what I'm trying to do. So again, if you come, right, or whatever you do for your midterm, those who can't come on the 27th, whatever you're doing on your own, this is the grading rubric of what you must have in your slideshow, your videos. I just know, this is just me, I'm anticipating, and y'all can tell me if I'm right or wrong. More than likely, you're not going to be doing a whole lot of work on your midterms over spring break. I'm just putting that out there. Let's just be real. Even though I'm giving you all that Tuesday after spring break as asynchronous to work on it, more than likely on Thursday, it's gonna, right, Sam, it's gonna look pretty rough. Let's just be real about it. Okay. All right. Eli, say amen.
Amen.
There you go. Right. You know, Enrique laughing. Yeah. You know, so what I'm willing to do is I will accept it. What you turn in on the 9th. I think that's your day, right? The 8th. No. What day is your midterm due? On the
I think you said the
6th,
8th.
7th, 8th, right? The
Okay.
8th.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will accept it in draft form. You still get your 25%. But again, you will tweak it, revise it, and update it for, and it will be, and I will accept it as your 50% final project. So you don't have to write, Sam, everybody, you don't have to go out and produce a whole new multimedia project for your final project. Y'all understand what I'm trying to do? And Elijah was in J95 yesterday, and so we did the same thing for the J95 students. Right? I just rather see stellar, amazing, amazing, amazing work on the midterm and the final. I'll take the final as a draft. but come May, it should be polished. It should be ready to submit to and win some awards in the Hearst Multimedia. And for J95, Anija, the CPOY Awards and so forth. Yeah. Did we lose somebody? No? Okay.
Enrique
Oh, okay.
might have had some connection issues.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, any questions on this? Any questions on this?
I just have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am, Anija.
For the workshop March 27th, can we like bring a friend with us, or is this strictly for SJSU students?
Who do you want to bring?
Just a regular friend.
Fine. I don't mind.
With as well, though. She's
What's that? What was the last thing that you said?
I said she's at the local community college and she's also taking a photography class.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we will not have a whole bunch of students because I think, right, Anija, we got 5 out of J95 and what, 2 or 3 out of here, maybe 3 with Sam, and so 8, and then your friend will be 9. That really is enough, you know, because of social distancing and all of that, and it gives you the opportunity, right, to get more visuals, more audio, more visuals, and have more time for the instructors to work with you. Real quick, aside from Josie Lepe and Randy Vasquez, our alums and award-winning photojournalists and videographers, as our guest lecturer, JMC grad student Ernie Gonzalez will assist students with audio gathering. Okay, so we got an audio expert. Ernie's very good. I had him as a MCOM 63 student, I believe, or J95, or maybe both. I can't remember. But Ernie is in graduate school now at JMC, and he'll be helping out with audio. So I'll be assisting all of them and working as the COVID-19 cop and so forth and so on. Lastly, on this, Bob Bain, you may have heard me mention his name before. Bob Bain is a university photographer, does all the stuff for the magazines, does all the stuff for the university websites and everything else. Been there about, Bob's been there, I've been there 15 years. Bob's been there at SJSU almost 20 years. Bob assisted me with the Portrait Academy last semester, but again, every August, Bob will call me or send me an email and say, Michael, who do you have? And what he's saying by that is, do you have any work study students? Because I have 2 or 3 positions for work study students, 20 hours a week, blah, 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 you know, minimum wage, but you get the chance to learn and work under him, his studio. Oh my God. You know, they're on campus right there in the IRC building up on the 3rd floor. You get a chance to get that experience and those clips in your e-portfolio. Hint, hint. Same parallel as what I did when I worked for the community newspapers back in St. Louis when I was in school. And so Bob will be there as well, you know, to help out and to assist, but also to see who amongst you may be good enough, have a portfolio good enough, come once we get back on campus in August or next January, to be hired as a work study student. And I've had plenty of students who have, oh my gosh, I can't even list all of them who have um, worked for Bob and have enhanced their e-portfolios. Okay, so that's that. Any questions on that? I want to hit one more thing the last couple of minutes. Anybody? Good.
Uh,
Okay.
I was just gonna ask if the parking was free, and then I realized it's at a church, so I'm assuming so.
The parking lot is right there. It's not even
Yeah.
10 yards from the fellowship hall.
Yeah.
It's a parking lot, I believe, right there, because the church almost takes up a block.
Yeah.
So 19th, if you take what do you call it, East Santa Clara, make a right on 19th Street, drive down, you'll see the parking lot
Yeah.
right there. Okay.
Yeah, I was planning on going down to San Diego if I get to go on the 26th. So I'm thinking that I could just probably get a cheap hotel room and then go in the morning on the 27th.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what you can do. Okay. This is what I'm going to do, guys, because I know that you haven't read, and I know that Eli and Tien and Enrique don't read what I post. Enrique, can I get an amen?
No, I read it.
Yeah. No, I'm messing with you. I'm giving you guys Thursday as asynchronous day to really get this chapter read, so that when we come back on next Tuesday, we can have a discussion. You know, chapter 8 is packed. I know it's 11:45, but give me one more minute. You see, I even moved the uh PDF up. Now it's slow. I posted it earlier in the semester. I'm trying to get to chapter 8. If this thing will cooperate, do it this way. But you do it that way, it takes a long time to load. But I'm not going to hold you. But read chapter 8. You know, these chapters are illustrated. In other words, right? You have illustrations on the page as well as the text. Study this one chapter, okay, on audio, okay, on audio, Lord.
I
Man,
actually downloaded it when you do that. If you because we get Adobe Acrobat for free, it's actually really easily to highlight things and make notes in the margins as you
well,
go since it's in PDF form.
sister, thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing that. I'm seeing if I can get to it quicker. I think I was already on chapter 8 because I was reading it again last night. I think this is chapter 8. Let me see. I believe it is. So I had it on my desktop. So you're right. Here it is. No, that was chapter 9. Chapter 8. We will probably do chapter 8 and 9, but I was reading chapter 8. It talks about the equipment. It talks about headphones. It talks about the importance of capturing audio, recording sound. Read this chapter so we can have a discussion on Tuesday. That's where I'm going with it. Okay, because I don't want to start talking about chapter 8 and asking you questions and nobody has the answer, and nobody would have the answer, right, folks? Because you haven't read the chapter. And so if you can do like Sam said, put it in Acrobat and make notes or read it and take notes, you know, it will make Tuesday's class, our next class, so much better. Okay, and more interactive. Okay, as opposed to me having to drive the drive the discussion. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, let me go back here. And where are we down here? Okay, so that is it for today. If y'all need anything for next, next Tuesday, let me know. I will be, I'm not going anywhere, right? Other than on Thursday to go get my second vaccine. I am pretty much homebound, willing to answer any questions that you may have on the chapter, or if you are doing a midterm that is not the group midterm on March 27th, if you want to share some ideas of what you're doing, those that aren't, Eli and I guess Enrique and Tien, if you aren't doing it, then let me know what your story is so I can help you plan it out for your midterm.
I'm coming to the thing, Professor.
Oh, you're coming, Tien?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, good. So
Yeah, I was planning on coming also. I just had a question. We don't need to bring any equipment or anything, right?
yes, you will need to bring your cell phones,
Right.
or if you have a DSLR.
Right.
Yes. Thank you for asking. Yes, please don't show up empty-handed.
Well, yeah, I mean, my phone, I don't go anywhere without it. So that was, I
Okay,
just meant
good.
anything extra.
Now, because Anaja's coming and I'm letting her bring her friend, that means that Anaja is going to bring Dr. Cheers some Starbucks coffee and a sweet roll.
I want a sausage breakfast sandwich from Starbucks,
Sausage
please.
breakfast sandwich, and
Taking the order.
if you all come early, I'll which you should, right? Just because it starts at 10:30 don't mean show up at 10:25.
Yeah.
Come early and I will have some juice and donuts, pastries, okay, for you all on that day. So we have perhaps maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 people out of this class. Only Enrique won't be able to make it. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, great. So Enrique, make sure you get to me that story idea. We went five minutes over, but I'm not going to apologize because you guys are asynchronous on Thursday. Read the chapter. Sam, everybody, you all, I appreciate you all so much. Okay, I really, 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 really do. I love small classes, man. I really do. I like small classes. You all have a good day. Anything you all need, just shout out. Bye-bye.